Hey everybody, this video is for lesson 6.4, solving radical equations, and this is the day 2 video. So the first thing we're going to start with is kind of a real world problem based on what we learned last time, which is solving equations that have radicals or roots in them. So this is just a real world example. This could be a word problem that you could even see like in your physics class if you're in physics dealing with pressures. All right, so in a hurricane, the mean sustained wind velocity V, so that's our velocity V, and that's in meters per second, can be modeled by the equation V of P. So V is dependent on air pressure P, and that's equal to 6.3 times the square root of 1013 minus P. Again, where P is the air pressure in millibars, and that's at the center of the hurricane. So we want to estimate the air pressure. So again, we want to estimate P at the center of the hurricane when the mean sustained wind velocity is equal to 54.5 meters per second. So this is a simple plug in what we know, solve for what we don't know type equation. All right, so we know that the wind velocity is 54.5, so I'm going to plug that in instead of V. So I'm going to have 54.5 is equal to 6.3 times the square root of 1013 minus P. Now notice that we have decimals in our original problem, so we are expecting to have decimals in our solution as well. And so we will be just plugging things into the calculator and getting decimal solutions. So the very first thing I want to do is isolate the radical. And what's messing that up right now is the 6.3 being multiplied by the radical. So I'm going to divide both sides by 6.3 in order to get rid of that. That gives me 8.65. And notice that I took that to one more decimal place. That's kind of common when if you're going to round it. You can just leave this whole thing in your calculator if you want. But it'll help you maintain your accuracy as we go along. And so we've gotten rid of the 6.3s and we want to continue solving. Well, now we have the radical isolated. So we can get rid of a square root by squaring. So a second root by taking the second power, and we have to do that to both sides. So we get 74.84 on this side. And when we cancel the second root and second power, we're left with 1013 minus P on this side. And now we continue solving. We're trying to solve for P, so we need to get rid of the 1013 by subtracting it from both sides. That's going to leave me negative 938.16 is equal to negative P. I want positive P, so I'm going to multiply through by a -1, or you can just think of it as canceling the negatives on both sides. And that's going to leave me with P is equal to 938.16, and my units on that is millibars of pressure.